Good morning. Welcome to the United States Sports Academy and our weekly sports talk program. With me today, our topic is so big we had to have four of us here to cover it all. To my far left is Mr. Ben Billman, one of our graduate teaching assistants and a basketball coach and huge basketball fan. Next to me is Dr. Brandon Spradley, our Director of Sports Management. To my right is Dr. Fred Cromartie, our Director of Doctoral Studies. And I'm your host, Steve Butler. And today we're going to talk a little bit about the NBA. And back with us this week, last week she was off at the College World Series, but back behind the camera is our wonderful producer, Sarah. Sarah got some great pictures of her and the assistant coach pitching coach at Oklahoma State University, who is our 2003 alumnus of the year.
James Valade.
And he is, well, I can safely say that as a pitching coach, he's doing a pretty good job.
Oh.
Because Oklahoma State became the first team in College World Series history to win the first two games by a score of 1-0. But we're here today to talk about basketball, and
Before we get all the way into that, let's let the folks know that this is not the silly time of the year, the down time of the year. There's a lot of sports still left out there.
There's a lot of sports going on, and of course, this being an Olympic year, that's less than 2 months away. Wimbledon
Coming up.
Euro and Copa.
Yes.
Yeah, they had, USA was introduced to big boy soccer last night, and saw exactly what they see.
Exactly what the big boys do. July 12th, the baseball all-star game. So we're ready.
The guy from the Blue Jays made a phenomenal catch.
Yeah, that was an awesome.
And it was number 2 on plays of the day, and they said, 364 days a year, this would have been number 1. But Messi's free kick against USA was something. If you haven't seen Messi's free kick against USA last night, you need to Google it or go to YouTube or something, because it was phenomenal. I mean, it was absolutely a perfect kick. It touched both of the bars right in the corner. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. Anyway, congratulations to the Cleveland Cavaliers. As we speak, they're riding around in the streets of Cleveland. Brandon showed me a picture on his computer a little while ago. The players hadn't showed up yet, but the streets around the complex where the baseball stadium is and the arena where they play were just absolutely. There's got to be a couple million people there.
Yeah. There's a few people that I know that are there.
About 5 minutes ago, a couple of the players I did see. I know J.R. Smith was there with his shirt off. He still had his shirt off, and he was taking pictures with a lot of the fans. And I did see Kyrie Irving and Timothy Moscow. So I haven't seen LeBron James yet, but a couple of players.
Oh, he'll show up.
It's live on TV.
He'll show up last with the trophies. But congratulations to the Cavs. It was a great series into a great basketball season. But what we're going to mostly focus on today is what they call in NASCAR the silly season. They don't call that basketball, but it's kind of the same. It's when all the free agents are jockeying for position. All the teams are trying to get the free agents they want. They're trying to get rid of some of the high salaries that they don't want. The NBA is one of the few sports where you'll see a player get traded simply for the number. And it has absolutely nothing to do with his talent, nothing to do with the need that another team has. In fact, sometimes they'll even say, they'll work out the trade, the players they want, and then one of the teams will say, we'll only make it if you also take this person to get that number off their books. And this year, the salary cap's going to go up quite a bit, but next year, the salary cap's going to go crazy through the roof. So they're talking about the max contracts after the 2017 season. In that free agent period, they're talking about max contracts in the range of $40 million a year, which isn't a bad gig.
No, it's not a bad gig at all.
There a lot of people talking on the on ESPN and the other sports networks the last couple of days. Since Golden State won 73 games but didn't win the championship, what are the moves they need to make in free agency and the draft? The Cavaliers, there's a lot of talk they're going to try to get rid of Kevin Love. And what are the Cavs going to do? Are they going to stay pat? Are they going to try to get better? And all the other teams are actually trying to catch up with those two teams.
Well, and they said there was a report that came out a little bit ago on saying that the Cavs, or not the Cavs, but the Warriors might be interested in taking a look at Kevin Love. So, the Warriors are looking at everybody right now.
The one thing that seems to be gaining a little traction is Kevin Durant to the Warriors.
Yeah.
So you're starting to hear that from more and more sources.
And Dirk Nowitzki is talking about taking a look at him too. I'm like, what?
on the top unrestricted free agents on the list we have here, I added Dirk Nowitzki because he wasn't on the list, but he just announced that he was opting out about 10 o'clock last night.
Yeah.
So he wasn't on the list yet, but he certainly is a shooter. Golden State needs a couple more shooters.
Yeah, I don't know how Dirk Nowitzki would fit into their system. Obviously, if you have a future Hall of Famer like Dirk Nowitzki who has a championship already, he's going to benefit the team. But I think the biggest story is Kevin Durant, and it'll be interesting to see what he does.
Well, see, it's a different contrast, though, between them. Dirk's been in the league 17, 18 years now. He won't have to be that quintessential go-to guy like Durant would have to be. Dirk is sort of like David West that went to the Spurs. I can come off the bench, give him my all for the period of time that I need to do that, but yet he still got it in the tank. And he can be a very good leader as well as that guy that runs and commands the second team. So that would be kind of interesting to see. Whereas Durant, again, is still young enough. He's going to have to be that focal point. But the bottom line is I can't see how anybody is going to be able to go out there and coexist with Steph. That's who you look to right now when you think of Golden State.
Well, I think
that's going to be tough.
I think Ben would agree with this from an executive standpoint. If you could get Kevin Durant, that's a good problem to have.
No question about it. But the fact of the matter is does that problem really, really become a distraction?
And I think Kevin Durant, one of the great things about signing Kevin Durant is you take away the best player from one of your chief rivals in the West.
Yeah.
You got to remember that too. But I think Kevin Durant, if he had the right attitude, if he's all about winning a championship, could do like what Chris Bosh did when he went to Miami. Because Chris Bosh was the man in Toronto more than Kevin Durant is the man in Oklahoma City, because Kevin Durant is one of two men in Oklahoma City. And Chris Bosh took that backseat role when he went to Miami and ended up winning 2 rings.
Yeah, okay, and that's a great attitude, but remember, that was the attitude that a couple of players had moving to San Antonio this year. They didn't win the championship. So the bottom line is Kevin Durant has really got to sit down and assess. Is it all about the money? Because he's got more than enough money right now. Is it about notoriety because he's one of the most notable players in the league right now? Or is it about being able to do like LeBron did, build that nucleus around you where you're at? And Oklahoma City has got great talent still. They need to make a couple of moves, and they are there, and they can compete and be in a position to go to a championship. What stopped them this year? The same thing that kind of stopped Golden State in the end. You got 3-4 minutes where guys couldn't hit a shot.
A lot of people still think that they made a mistake letting James Harden go. We got a list of top unrestricted free agents. Interestingly enough, the second one on the list, none of us have even mentioned. I think we were talking about it earlier this morning in Dr. Camardi's office, and I think we all forgot. Guess who's an unrestricted free agent? LeBron James. And that's something interesting that we'll see what happens. But anyway, the list is Kevin Durant, LeBron James. This is according to CBS Sports, the top free agents, with that caveat that I added Dirk Nowitzki this morning. Kevin Durant, LeBron James, Al Horford, Mike Conley, Dwight Howard, Hassan Whiteside, Chandler Parsons, DeMar DeRozan, Dwayne Wade, and Dirk Nowitzki. Lots of various talents there. Ben, if you were the general manager of the Golden State Warriors and you could get any one of those guys other than Durant, I think that's an obvious one, and LeBron. Of those other 8, who do you think would be the best fit in Golden State?
I think Whiteside is an interesting prospect because he's proven himself with the Heat, but it's hard to tell how good he actually is because he's been kind of overshadowed by Dwayne Wade a little bit. I could see him fitting in the the Warriors system. He seems like he'd be a good passer. He'd be a good teammate. And he's probably the one that intrigues me the most on this list. I don't think Dwight Howard would work out very well with the Warriors. And really, at this point, it's really hard to tell what the Warriors need. I think they've got so many good pieces. I think they're going to lose Harrison Barnes in free agency because he's going to demand a high price tag. So really,
he gets a high price tag already. But
yeah,
I agree with you. I think he's gone. But to come back, I think that Dwight Howard would be a nice piece for
Yeah.
them. Yeah, and hear me out why. Because, see, right now, Dwight has been so injured. He's been up and down. He's still got a little bit left in the tank. But I think if he just went in there and they didn't have to worry about him shooting, he could crash the boards like he does. And the combination of him and Draymond Green, oh boy, that'd be something else.
When you look at Bogut, when you look at Azili, and even Maurice Spates, they're not post-up players.
No.
You see them out at the top of the key, handling the ball, passing, kicking to the wings, even driving to the basket sometimes. I don't see Dwight Howard doing that.
See, that's gonna give Kerr an opportunity to have a little bit more nuance within his offensive scheme. Because if you noticed, when they did have an opportunity to play with their back to the basket, their big men basically were non-existent when it came to that.
I think with Dwight Howard, I don't think it's basketball-wise, I think he has the talent to play with anybody. I think the reason why a lot of people are shying away from Dwight Howard is because of personality conflicts. It happened with the Lakers. It's happened a little bit with the Rockets. And, I'm not sure how
happened all the way back to Orlando.
But that's because all of those teams went in with the attitude that he was going to be the central focal point. If he doesn't have to be that central focal point, I think Dwight Howard can get his act together and be an instrumental piece of any team.
That would be key.
I would disagree with you on one thing, though. I think Kevin Durant would be more willing to take a back role than Dwight Howard would be. I think Dwight Howard, in his mind, needs to be the focal point of an offense. I heard a great analysis of Dwight Howard, and I never really thought of it before. I can't remember who it was. It was on ESPN Radio. Said that Dwight Howard never was really a really good basketball player, but he was a phenomenal athlete.
Yeah.
And with age and injuries, since he's no longer as phenomenal an athlete as he was before, he has a lot less value as a basketball player.
But he's still a 7-footer.
Yeah. If you're a general manager, obviously you're going for Kevin Durant as your priority. And if you can't get Kevin Durant, and it's been talks about them looking at Dirk Nowitzki, even though it might not seem like he fits into their system, when you think about it, Dirk Nowitzki would be a vital component in the playoff system because if Dirk Nowitzki, what he did when they won the championship against Chris Bosh, posting him up and being able to score. If you can have that element with the Golden State Warriors, especially in a playoff series like the one that they just got done with Oklahoma City and now with the NBA Finals with the Cavs, I think he would be a central.
Yeah, and let's not forget, Golden State isn't that far away. Where if Klay Thompson and Steph Curry make one shot each in the last 4 minutes, we're talking a whole different. The parade today is in Oakland instead of.
But let's not lose sight of the fact that today's NBA is more oriented towards guards. So a central piece for some of these teams out here, from the general manager's perspective, is going to be taking a hard look at Mike Conley.
I agree. I think Oklahoma City could have used Mike Conley in the playoffs. In the playoffs against Golden State because he knows how to run a system.
I think even though he played point guard this year, I think Russell Westbrook's more cut out to be a 2-guard than a point guard.
Oh yeah, there is no question about that. And that would be a central key piece for Oklahoma, is to get somebody that can run the floor. That way, Westbrook wouldn't have to put so much out there in terms of offense, defense, and that he could run in an offensive scheme and then still be much more effective, I think, on defense, which he is now.
Ben mentioned Harrison Barnes. He's one of the top 3 restricted free agents. And restricted free agent means that your current club can match. If the Boston Celtics offer Harrison Barnes $20 million a year, Golden State can match that and keep him. I think we all agree that if somebody makes Harrison Barnes an offer, the management at Golden State is going to be very, very happy.
Yeah, they'll pack him up.
But the other 2 they have on this list are Andre Drummond and Bradley Beal. And I think Andre Drummond would be a fabulous fit in Golden State because he does exactly the same things that Andrew Bogut does, but does it much better. Blocking shots, getting rebounds. And I think Andre Drummond would be perfectly happy to walk off the court with a win and 0 points, 12 rebounds, and 14 blocks.
Especially when they're seriously going to take a hacka horrible center rule. Take a look at that rule to make those changes in that. So that's going to kind of help out those, Drummonds and all those guys.
He could play in I can see any team wanting Andre Drummond
Heck yeah.
because really, and I heard this, it was a couple months ago, Andre Drummond was one of the only guys that Draymond Green couldn't
Yep.
in the paint.
Exactly.
And he's a beast in rebounding along with DeMarcus Cousins. So I think any team could use Drummond.
Sarah's back there giving us all kinds of signals about our time. So let's go ahead and take a real quick look at the top 10 draft prospects. Again, this is according to CBS.com. They list in order: Ben Simmons from LSU, Brandon Ingram from Duke, Chris Dunn from Providence, Dragan Bender from Israel, Jaylen Brown from Cal, Jamal Murray from Kentucky, Buddy Hield from Oklahoma, Jacob Poeltl from Utah, Deontay Davis from Michigan State, and Domantas Sabonis from Gonzaga. A couple of interesting things on this list to me is one, there's only one international player, although Sabonis is kind of and his dad was a superstar for a lot of years.
But he grew up here in the States.
Yeah. And the other thing that's interesting is there's only one player from Kentucky on the list.
Well, that's because they found out that the guard right now, their point guard, the Ulis, has got some injury problems that they discovered through his physicals and all that good stuff. So that dropped his stock a little bit. But
who is the guy that was like the most sought after player 2 years ago, but he couldn't play, and then he played last year at Kentucky, but he didn't play very much. I can't think of his name.
Poultry.
No,
not Poisters.
he was a redshirt freshman this past year, but 2 years ago he was like the player everybody wanted.
Scal, the BCA.
Yes. One of the draft experts on ESPN yesterday said that he thinks he would be a steal between 10 and 15 because he didn't play a lot at Kentucky last year, but they said the talent is the ceiling for him is as high as any of these guys in the top 10. So he expects him to, even though he's not on anybody's list of the first round, he expects that guy to go between 10 and 15, and he thinks he'll be a steal there.
But I think what's amazing though is that you heard a little bit of talk for the last several weeks that 76ers weren't really interested in Simmons, and other teams said he can't do this, he can't do that, he doesn't have the basketball acumen and all this good stuff and everything. So all he does is go up to the 76ers and sell how smart and intelligent he is in regards to basketball, and then he didn't have to get on the court and play yet.
Well, I heard a good analysis of Ben Simmons that said what you're really looking for in today's NBA game is playmakers, and he's as good a playmaker as there is in all of college basketball. He just happens to be 6'10", 240 pounds.
That's true.
But more than anything, he's a playmaker.
Well, he's a point center.
The only thing holding him back right now is his jump shot.
Yeah, and he can work on that.
But that's okay. That's okay. LeBron came into the league with no jump shot. So, I mean, that's the only downside to him, but he'll fix that quickly. Yeah. So.
At least he can shoot free throws. I think everything you hear, the draft is tomorrow night, and it'll obviously be covered on television. I think everybody's kind of convinced right now that Simmons is going number 1 to Philadelphia, and Brandon Ingram's going number 2 to the Lakers, and then when it gets interesting. Expect a lot of trades. I heard yesterday that Philadelphia and Boston got a boatload of draft picks. I think Boston has 7 and Philadelphia has 6.
Yeah.
Philadelphia is talking about trading in 2 or 3 draft picks and trying to move that into a second top 10 pick because they want to really turn things around there. But it seems like
don't draft a center.
What Philadelphia's been doing lately is drafting a lot of big.
When they're willing to let Okafor go.
Yeah, I heard they want to keep Noel over Okafor. So somebody will scoop him up.
Yeah. Noel's more of a defensive player, so I think he would work out. It'll be interesting to see what the Lakers.
It's going to be
Luke
real.
Walton
Yeah.
and getting Brandon Ingram. It'll be interesting to see what type of nucleus they can get together because they have some young
They got
players.
Julius Randle.
Yeah.
They've got what's the guard's name?
D'Angelo Russell.
D'Angelo Russell. Yeah, they've got some good young talent. But somebody like Nowitzki would probably be a good fit there to provide the leadership. Because they keep the boys from posting the
Stay off Instagram.
pictures of
Snapchat.
but hopefully the draft will be very interesting tomorrow night. see if anybody can wear a suit that'll match the one that Jalen Rose wore when he got drafted. He's still there's a great his show.
Hey, Ezekiel Elliott did it pretty good on the NFL draft.
We should have a segment on fashion and sports.
He crossed the line.
Yeah, that was a bit over the top.
Okay, let's assume for a second that Simmons goes to Philadelphia and Ingram goes to the Lakers. But let everybody have a shot. If you had the third pick, then I'm not going to put any team on it. If you had the third pick, who would you take, Ben?
Just looking at this list and seeing how they played in college basketball this past year, Buddy Hield, just a phenomenal player. He's an all-around player. He's got leadership qualities. I would probably, just looking at this list, he probably won't go third, but if I'm in that fourth, fifth, or sixth position, he's at the top of my list.
Okay, I completely agree with Ben. He's been amazing the entire year, and looking at the intensity that he plays with and his ability to score the ball. When you come into the NBA and you already know how to play, be a playmaker and know how to score the ball like that, I think he would be a good choice.
I'm taking Jamal Murray for all the reasons you guys just said about Buddy Hield. I think he's a surefire NBA 20-point a game scorer.
I'm taking Jamal Murray because not only is he
You not agree with me.
not only is he a 20-point scorer, but he actually can play solid defense. He can stop a guy, and that makes a big, big difference. You get a guy that can shoot, you put him on, the next team's, ace, player, and he can go out there and play solid defense. And I think that's a tremendous upside. And some of the pundits are saying he's a step above Howell because he plays defense, but he really didn't.
And there's something to be said for.
But he didn't have to.
There's something to be said for Hield's experience too, having been in Oklahoma for 4 years.
Yeah.
And learning the game.
Thank you.
Somebody's gonna take Dragan Bender just because he's 7'1".
And it's a bonus too because he's a big body and he's
They can develop.
You can't teach our coach 7'1".
yeah. You can't.
Okay, we're running out of time, so we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up. We hope everybody enjoyed the NBA Finals, and we'll look forward to the NBA Draft tomorrow night. See where this silly season in the NBA takes us. See where we all talked about who we take as free agents, but we again forgot about LeBron. That changes the whole picture of free agency if LeBron decides to leave Cleveland.
He'd be a mercenary of championships.
We might have a national champion in college baseball next Wednesday.
That's right. Sarah just made a good point. We got the College Baseball World Series.
Finals.
By the time we meet next week, we'll either have a champion or we'll be waiting for third game of the championship series on Wednesday night. And right now, it's looking really strongly like it's going to be a Big 12 show in the championship series. Yes. SEC and the ACC between them had 17 teams in the tournament. Something like, it was a big number. And
17 teams. You're
they're
correct.
all gone. Big 12 had 3 teams in the tournament, and they're all still there.
Hey,
There's 6 teams left, and half of them belong to the Big 12.
College of Charleston.
Anyway, that's our show for today. We hope everybody has a great week in sports. Enjoy the NBA Draft. Enjoy the College World Series. We didn't even talk about last night in the WNBA. Minnesota,
That's right.
LA, beat LA.
Yeah.
They're 13-0, and LA's 11-1.
Yeah, they went into the game 12-0 and 11-0. First time that's ever happened this week into the season. Minnesota is coached by our current female coach of the year.
Yes.
And of course,
Reeves.
the LA Sparks are led by Candace Parker, who's been a perennial All-Pro. I hope everybody has a great week in sports, and we'll see you next Wednesday at 11:30 a.m. Central Time from the campus of the United States Sports Academy. So long, everyone.